It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
It's 22nd of May 2019. It's 2 p.m. CET time. Piotr here, and this is the New York Open live market coverage on Liteforex Global YouTube channel. Let's start with risk warning. Please bear in mind trading effects on margin trading. Crypto on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for investors who can sell some or early initial investments. So please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. All right. So what is going on? I've been hit by, as I mentioned earlier today, also at the very beginning of the week, I've been hit by pound, but I still trading the pound. As you can see, there is the we were discussing this. The probably the last line of defense, or different words, the last line in the sand, whatever you want to call it. We hit the stops based on the low from the 15th of January 2019. We hit the high from the 3rd of January, right? So after yesterday rally, which was rejected, more stop hunts to the downside, and to be honest with you, looks like with the pound it's all about today's close. Let me make it one thing, just for us to have better visible. So it's also not too disturbing us from the usual intraday activity. It's all about probably daily close on the pound, and the daily close most probably is going to depend on the outcome in relation to the latest Theresa May Brexit plan, right? It also could be the question about the dollar as well. As you probably aware, later today, within the next 6 hours, we are going to get latest FOMC minutes. Pound hit stops with dollar, but also, bears hit the stops here, right? But also with Euro pound, we are within very interesting place. The yellow is intraday, but let me make it a little bit bolder at the green, as this is the daily as well. So it's not only pound dollar, because the truth is it's all about the pound right now. So also we are testing very interesting levels from Euro pound perspective, and taking into the consideration yesterday's sell-off with this V formation to the upside. What happened? We almost hit the simple measurement move. So we'll see what's going to happen. Plenty of unhappy people because of the yesterday Brexit plan. So some MPs, some ministers, they were supposed to leave, but they are still there for now. But there are comments that everything might be done by the tea time in UK, so something around with next 2 or 3 hours. With others saying that once we are going to get the Theresa May removal, it might help pound to rally. Well, we'll see, right? Hi Norbert, how are you doing? Hello. So we will see. Anyway, we are really within the few interesting levels. Also pound yen. Also pound yen, the levels we were discussing some time ago, right? If you remember the strong move to the downside, actually it should be green because it's based on daily, I'm sorry. So if you remember what we were discussing here on the pound yen, that was the consolidation late December of 2018, then Niagara Falls, right? Recovery, and we are retesting this latest point of the weakness here on pound yen, right? And tested twice. Yesterday was the test as well, and then rally, and today bears are trying to break down. The thing with pound yen is that the sentiment is a little bit of colder right now, and I'm not talking about the pound only. I'm talking about the indices. I'm talking about, because you know the journalist. There is a very easy to be the financial journalist. It's easy. Yeah, the futures are up because of the trade tensions ease, or futures are down because there is a trade tension escalation, right? In that case, yeah, the pound yen is so it's not only it might be not only under pressure because of the pound, it also might be under pressure based on the risk of sentiment. But that's something we are going to discuss as well. So watching pound, as you've seen, I'm just one more time. I'm sitting, but it's not based on the intraday. It's not the intraday position, so that's why not too disturbing us from the usual intraday activity. So we are going to watch the pound for sure. But probably closer, it's going to be much more interested closer to the option expiration and closer to the London fix. So I'm talking about something around the 4 p.m. CET time within next 2 hours, let's say that way, all right? But 2:30, we are going to get the Canadian retail sales. So we are going to watch within next 22 minutes during the retail sales announcement. We are going to watch USD CAD, and USD CAD is testing very interesting levels as well, because it's testing. Let me do this different way. All right, because dollar CAD is also testing not only intraday interesting levels, but what is most important, it's testing nice levels based on the daily chart, right? So I'm not gonna be surprised with Canadian dollar to take few stops below the low from the 10th of May, below the low from the 1st of May, right? We are approaching end of the month. So in case bulls want to hold and keep possible rally alive, we need to start to think about moving higher from here, right? So first thing first, Canadian retail sales, number one. Number two, what is important, we are going to watch crude, right? It's also related to the Canadian dollar. And yesterday we got private API and market or bulls were surprised by the higher number. So today at 4:30 p.m. CT we are going to get official EEA crude oil inventories, so official numbers, all right, and we'll see if we are going to follow. The thing is that we've been watching oil for quite some time. We agreed lately that for the last 2-3 days there was some kind of the consolidation, and yesterday we discussed possible breakdown. Even we were higher, right? If you remember yesterday meeting, so we were higher, and we were discussing possibility of the eventually of the breakdown in oil. In that case, there is breakdown going on, right? So the thing is that probably we are going to go towards 61.50, 61.20, where the possible demand, okay, where the possible demand may reside here. But in combination with higher inventories here on oil, negative sentiment when we are talking about the indices, it might be something deeper here, right? So it might help bulls on the USD cut, but we need the combination of the weaker retail sales, lower oil prices, and negative sentiment that may spur rally here on USD Canadian dollar. All right, especially that we are testing really important levels, as you can see right now. So let's switch to the smaller time frame here. All right, and what we have. All right. We have something. Let me clean a few things over here, and let's update the thing because we broke few intraday levels. So let's make an update here. All right. So there are first line in here that I would say based on this eventually over under. So we made the low, we hit the stops, we equal the low, and we are testing this low again. But what I think, and still green color, you know, it's related to the daily chart. Now the thing is that we are testing the big green zone, and the green color represents the daily chart. Just reminder, all right? So it's a possible wide demand zone based on the daily chart. That's what we've seen a second ago when we were checking the daily time frame, right? Now, so from intraday perspective, we have this over under here we are testing right now, and a little bit lower, closer towards 50% of that demand in between here and here, right? We have intraday possible demand based on the action we have over here. So what are we going to do? We are going to put the zone here, and we are going to remove the lines. Okay. In case of move lower, right? There are few possibilities. So let's discuss few of them. All right. If we can agree that that's some kind of the consolidation was going on here with some stops with this upper shadow over here, then in case of the breakdown, there is a possibility we are going to see lower levels, meaning that we might test even 32.50, right? Doubling the breakdown from the consolidation, we may double the size. But in case on just stop count, and actually, to be honest with you, that's what I'm looking for here. In case of stop count only, and 1 second, let's have a look closer into that demand. All right, it's a nice level. In case of the stop count only, I'm going to look for the quick reversal on a smaller time frame, something around 33.60. All right, from the intraday perspective. Otherwise, if it's going to be the real breakdown, then doubling the range to the down and towards 32.70, 32.50 on this USD cut. Of course, we are going to switch to the lower time frame around the data announcement. All right. But the thing is, and congratulations if you were testing yesterday again, and I'm going to mention about that. Even I have programs somewhere. We were discussing that maybe May, maybe June, I'm going to start the webinars for Liteforex team and for you, just with the explanation of the details of the strategy, because just to be on a safe side. So whatever we are discussing, you testing only on a demo account, eventually as a paper trading. That's what I'm telling you every time we have a meeting. Now, we were discussing Nasdaq yesterday, so congratulations. Even there was another attempt to go higher towards the end of the session. We didn't take out the yellow zone. We can remove the one from here. No, it's okay. And we are approaching lower levels. Now, let's get back to the daily with Nasdaq. Of course, closer to the cash open, we are going to discuss it, but to be on a safe side, looks like this week low might be under pressure. We're also talking about the about the low from the 15th of May, right? That's what we discussed yesterday, and it might be the invitation for this head and shoulder creation over here. Eventually, the how to call it? Eventually, the final decision is going to be made in between 7,260, 7,200, right? So the zone over here, either it's gonna be that way, or it's going to be that way. So somewhere here. There are possibility market will look for some stops, right? Look for some liquidity over here. And that's how I see the things on Nasdaq. Of course, we are going to get back into Nasdaq during the second part of our meeting. Now, as we discussed USD CAD, we discussed pound. It's time for the star, right? It's time for the euro dollar. Of course, the thing is that the volatility on euro dollar is small. But as we have some time towards the Canadian data, we can spend few moments discussing euro dollar. Now, to discuss euro dollar, we have to think, in my opinion, about the few important things. What I'm talking about, just 1 second. Let me switch on to have a better view on Nasdaq. What I'm talking about. All right. So the first thing first, in relation to euro overall, is election day one tomorrow, right? European Parliament election. That's the first thing first. Second thing, and it's not only in Europe, it starts during the Tokyo session. Overall, Thursday is going to be PMI day, right? So we are going to get the Australian flash manufacturing and services PMI. We are going to get Japanese flash manufacturing PMI during the Tokyo session. Then there is gonna be PMI day in Europe, right? So French, German, and I think that's extremely important what kind of the numbers we are gonna to get tomorrow, right? So parliamentary election, PMI day in Europe, especially German, French, close look. Of course, the final reading as well. But that's just the part of what we are gonna to get tomorrow. We are going to get the final German GDP number. I do not expect here any kind of the fireworks. I think we are gonna to get what market is expecting, 0.4. Also, we are going to have German IFO business climate, all right? ECB financial stability review, and finally we are going to get ECB monetary policy meeting accounts. But here we know that we can expect some kind of the dovishness. The only question is how dovish that report is going to be. Okay, so very important day tomorrow based on the agenda. But also what is important is gonna be the reaction, because Euro pound is testing supply, right? So we may expect some kind of the supply, euro supply here, right? In case of the even more negative sentiment, right? Let me switch pound yen to euro yen. We may expect some kind of the supply also here, right, on EURGBP. In that case, if we are gonna to get the supply on euro yen, if we are gonna to get the supply on euro pound, if the way of the thinking is correct, right? So even we are trying to hold some levels on euro dollar, it might not be that easy. Now, what is going on with euro dollar? That's what we discussed a few times. Still post FOMC high over here and post non-farm payrolls low over here, right? We've seen the rejection of the FOMC high 13th of May 2019, right? And we are approaching the post non-farm payrolls low, so I do expect some stops below. Now, the very interesting situation is going on the chart here based on what happened yesterday, okay? And what happened yesterday? There was an approach to go lower towards this low, right? Then, because of price action on the pound, there was also an attempt to go higher, okay? So overall, there was some kind of the uncertainty on the market from both bulls and bears, and we ended up around the daily open, all right? Now, the morning brought retest of the Monday low. So in that case, we are trying to create some kind of the swing low, but that's what I've been trying to explain during the morning meeting. At some point, I wouldn't bet on that ahead of the FOMC meeting later today, right? On the other hand, and let me switch to the dollar index. We were discussing the dollar index, as it's a euro dollar is the heavyweight in the dollar basket, so that was quite important to discuss it, right? So let me switch to the dollar for a second. So that's the dollar index chart, and euro dollar is a heavyweight when we are talking about the dollar basket, but there is one very huge difference. And if we are not gonna hit stops below the non-farm payrolls low after the FOMC, and depends on the price action, we might be in the process of profit taking on the dollar. I'm not saying we are going to change the whole direction. It might be some kind of a little bit of the profit taking, and we are going to discuss this during the second part of our meeting after the break. What I'm talking about, I mentioned that we didn't hit the stops on euro dollar below non-farm payrolls low, but we did hit the stops when we are talking about the X, right, dollar index. We hit that stops yesterday and we saw the rejection. There is a retest of this post non-farm payrolls high in case of the dollar, right? We are trying to reject this, and right now, crucial moment for a dollar. It's not gonna be easy. It might be very tough from euro dollar perspective for the rest part of the day towards the FOMC minutes, and then we might see some nice price action, but it might be some kind of the fight in between bulls and bears, because where we are from the dollar index perspective, we are testing weekly open right now. All right, so a few minutes, so you know, it's gonna be challenge for both bulls and bears on euro dollar, but we are going to get back into the euro dollar during the second part of our meeting. Now let's get back to the platform and let's have a look. As just 2 minutes left, let's have a look what we are going to get from the Canadian dollar perspective based on the retail sales number. Just the final word on euro dollar. As you can see, blue dotted line represents weekly open, and on euro dollar we are above. On the dollar index we are fighting at the weekly open. That's quite important, right? Things are getting interesting here on Nasdaq, and things are getting very interesting on oil. So taking into the consideration sentiment and what is going on oil, what I would like to see on the CAD, USD CAD, just stop hand to the downside with quick reversal. Are we going to see? I have no idea, but that's what I'm looking for now. All right, less than 1 minute. Seconds before of the because of the YouTube agreement, there is always a little bit of the delay when we are talking about live stream, so you have to check the data on your side as well. There is a move to the downside. And now the thing is, if it's just stop count based on what we discussed on hourly, look where we are, what we are testing, where there is a demand, where we are trying to draw the lower shadow. There are, in the meantime, few news going on, but I will get back into that. That's how the Canadian number looks like. Strong ex-auto. So here is a big bid really. But the oil and overall market sentiment probably will dictate what next. So that's gonna be very, very important where we are at the top of the hour, right? As well. I'm going to try to figure it out on the 1 minute chart if we are going to try to hold that one. Maybe with some tight stop. Otherwise, if we are going to see the breakdown, okay, trying lower. Let's switch lower on oil, lower time frame. We might see an attempt to go higher on oil ahead of the EEA release. You know, if you wanna push indices higher, then you can. I'm not sure. It's my guess. It's a little bit cheaper to manipulate via oil, right? Than all these stocks, energy stocks, will go higher with oil as well. That's what we've been witnessing lately. Now, in relation to the news, I've mentioned that there are a few more news. Let's have a look what we have. We have something from the Mnuchin over here. Now we have few Brexit related news. Plenty of this pound-related news. Overall, trying to make the short summary of what from the Theresa May side, what from others like Labour leader Corbyn. Corbyn, a call for general election to break Brexit deadlock. From the Prime Minister Theresa May side, will put Brexit bill to Parliament vote. MPs will have to the chance to amend Brexit bill. Brexit bill to be published this upcoming Friday. So yeah, it might be busy for pound. Now, next, there is also this one from Reuters. Let me put onto the chat. I'm not sure if the beliefs is enough, but anyway, TRIA from Italy believes 2019 GDP growth will be higher than the government official 0.2 forecast. I believe I'm gonna be billionaire by Friday. Holy Malone, you're right. But beliefs is a beliefs. So what we have? Still this possible demand here on the USD CAD trying to hold right now. And that's, in my opinion, that might be key. It's probably gonna be crucial here. So bulls, right now, bulls need to get back as soon as they can, as fast as possible, above 33.80. Otherwise, we might start to consider this as a breakdown at some point, right? So where we are, that was the latest weakness over here. And if we are going to take out what next, it might be this over under intraday at the top of 33. We'll see. Watching very carefully right now. So what we have? We have attempt to bounce on oil. We have attempt to hold this support on Nasdaq. Let's switch to the daily on Nasdaq. Right ahead of our break. 1 second. Let's have a look what we have. So that's the Monday close. That's the around the Tuesday open and test. So bulls need lower shadow towards the end of the session, right? Otherwise, this week low and the low from the 15th of May might be under pressure just to hit few more stops and eventually to make the rally of that line. That's what we discussed. That's what we discussed yesterday. So less than an hour to US cash open. All right. It's 22:03 p.m. CET. So finally, it's time for our first break today. So bar is open, tea, coffee, non-alcoholic drinks. Okay, enjoy the break. Charts are going to be visible all the time, and I'm going to be back around the top of the hour.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you. It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Welcome back. Second part of our today's meeting, we are covering New York Open. What is going on? All right, there was an attempt to hit few more stops on euro dollar, but we quite didn't that yet compared to what we've seen yesterday. There is an option expiration at 1180, so it was like, looks like they are done with strong rejection. So I would say temporarily we are good, at least for the next hour. Probably, I wouldn't say for sure, probably. It's gonna be a little bit quiet here on the euro dollar side. Now the pound, very interesting attempt. If we are discussing this 15-minute chart, right? That's on this 15-minute chart, that's the latest supply. That's the latest market weakness, right? So we hit that supply, we hit some stops, there is a shadow above. And the thing is, I do have some kinds, it's not the great stuff here. I do have some kind of the possible megaphone formation over here. Probably it's not that good, it should be here proper. Anyway, we have the from the higher time frame perspective we discussed, right? So let's get back to daily. If you remember, low from the 15th of March over here, stops were taken out. Okay, stops were taken out. High from the 3rd of March, that's what we've hit as well. Now we're trying to reverse, and from the 15-minute chart perspective, let's have a look where we are on the hourly. It's similar situation. We're trying to hold on the hourly. It looks like this, and let's have it on the hourly. All right, if we are going to go through the high of this candle, right, it might be intraday game changer here on the pound, so watch out carefully. So let's switch into 15-minute chart. So it's the top of that zone is a little bit higher. So there was no, based on 15, we took out some stops. Based on hourly, not quite yet, right? But that might be intraday game changer. Let's watch, especially that there is a, as you can see in the chat window, UK Prime Minister spokesman confident cabinet still supports her Brexit legislation, all right? And if we are going to get a little bit warmer towards the Brexit plan, it might produce the spike. Overall, again, let me repeat that stuff. It's all about daily close today, probably, in my opinion. Just don't forget, we do have FOMC meeting minutes within the next 5 hours or so, right? Okay, so that's euro dollar, that's pound dollar. Time to have a look on the dollar yen. Yesterday rally. Right now, where we are from the daily chart perspective, right? If you can see, and we were discussing that yesterday, the range from the 6th of May, right? I should put that a little bit higher, the green one. All right. So we are testing this supply. Cannot be ruled out that we are going to try to close the gap, right? We are talking about the 3rd of May close. And we kind of didn't close the gap, right? That's also some old demand over here. So we do have some kind of the attempt to reject, especially based on this a little bit of the nervousness on the future side, right? I'm talking about the Nasdaq, for example. I'm talking about European stocks anyway. But, and that's very important, trying ahead of the New York cash open, we trying to hold the breakout point, right? So Monday high broke through yesterday. Right now we have to treat it as a retest of the broken Monday high, right? I would prefer, and that's what we discussed yesterday, this price action to the left side, right? Also where we have this weekly open, right, over here. So I would prefer, with some attempt to sell off on the stocks, we might see attempt to sell off on dollar yen, right? And I'm going to look what's going on around 110, right? And we were discussing this 110 on the dollar yen yesterday. So let's switch lower to 1 hour on dollar yen. All right. So that was Monday high, and it was above what I like here at current level is the only some kind of the price action seen here. All right, so some kind of the I'm going to explain during our webinars in June, because we are going to have 3 webinars in June. The first one is gonna be basic stuff related to possible demand and supply zones. The second webinar we are going to make the summary of the first one, and we are going to add more details into possible supply and demand. And the third one is gonna at the very beginning, and we are going to have 3 webinars in June. It's gonna be the summary of the previous 2 and adding some tricks and treats into that as well, right? And so in that case, we might see market to try to hold 110.30, right? But again, I do prefer a little bit lower levels related to the weekly open, right? So hopefully we are going to at least test these levels. Now the reaction, right? Inside intraday supply based on this daily supply, but the rejection is, even if we are going to take into consideration a little bit of the negative sentiment right now going on here on the Nasdaq, for example, right? It's not that huge, the rejection over here. Now, what we were discussing yesterday, this kind of the Pelican report theory. If really we are going to see the escalation of the trade tension, right? It might turn out to be some kind of the Asian crisis, right? And look at this dollar Chinese yuan chart. We hit some stops yesterday. We saw the pullback. Again, we are testing top of that channel. Okay, we are making a little bit lower low right now, lower high, I'm sorry, lower high right now, but still we are inside this channel, and with all this negativities right now, I'm going to watch during the New York session what is going on here, because what we agreed on lately is that what is going on dollar Chinese yuan, it's gonna to be the direction for the sentiment most probably, right? So again, right now, based on what we discuss on daily, right, we broke through 686, 50, 87, right? We even didn't retest that level. And we hit possible supply based on the range from the 30th of November 2018, right? And so what we've seen, in my opinion, it was strong one side move, right? It was the breakthrough 686.50 without even retest. We were discussing maybe during this 14th and 15th of May, we are discussing that maybe we are going to see the pullback to retest this breakout. Of course, we might see it a little bit later, but I've been thinking that quick retest, but we went strongly through towards 695, right? So we have a Riley base continuation. Now it's some kind of the flag. It looks like, for me, it looks like that's the preparation to at least try to break 695 and try to open 7, right? So we are right now testing the possible supply. Also, we're discussing areas. So it's very interesting what is going on here. So definitely it's worth to watch how we are reacting, because what I noticed earlier today when we saw this attempt to go lower, when we saw the attempt to strengthen the Chinese yuan, suddenly all the risk on sentiment pushed higher. So, well, we'll see. Whoa! That's how the things ending sometimes. Okay, we have to focus on what is going on. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, China will fight to the end if US uses extreme pressure. There are some rumors, not confirmed yet, based on the Twitter feed, Brexit related. There are rumors not yet confirmed, but equally not being denied, of a move against Prime Minister by the cabinet today. And of course sources. I hate sources, right? Would be better to see the name. But anyway, sources says it's looking likely. But again, it's based on the Twitter feed. We'll see how all these things end up. Anyway, watching this Chinese yuan movement, I've been thinking to switch to and discuss the indices, as we are 15 minutes ahead of the open. But now I have to get back into what is going on with Canadian dollar. Because of this attempt to move back, we hit supply right now on the 15-minute chart. So the level from where after the data we went lower. Looks like market is nervous, and I'm trying to figure it out what is going on. Anyway, on this 15-minute chart, right? One second. Goldman rises iron ore prices forecast to 91 from 81. Anyway, so where we are retesting, right? We are trying. There is an attempt to turn around, but we hit the supply based on the retail sales data. On the other hand, from the 1 minute chart perspective, right? Where is the latest place from where we went towards the low of the day, right? We can definitely say it's here. All right. So when there was an attempt to move higher, we react inside this possible supply, right? So for me, for now, everything in between 70 and 55 may work as possible demand with supply based on what happened after the retail sales data, right? So here we can also place this accumulation of the shorts. We hit that level, right? Now, if we are going to go straight through, of course it's a 1 minute charts. If we are going to go straight through, we may try to target 34.35. Sorry, 34.25, 34.35. Okay. On the Canadian dollar. So very interesting situation, especially with this rejection on euro dollar here. So dollar is getting back. The bulls are back here on the dollar. Let me check where we are on the dollar from the dollar index perspective. They don't want to give a so dollar the bulls reacting, fighting around. So we went below for a while. We went below weekly open. We are trying to rebuild right now. So let me show you where we are from the dollar index perspective. There you go. So as you can see, let's switch lower. It's gonna be better visible. Let's switch to 10-minute chart. Right, so blue dotted line, same price action similar to what we've seen yesterday, and right now the bulls are trying to build over under, looks like, right? Quite not, yeah, it might be. So let's have, so this, what we've seen, yeah. I've mentioned before that happened that because of euro dollar is the heavyweight inside the dollar basket, towards the FOMC minutes we might see this type of the fight between bulls and bears. So let's get back to the platform. 10 minutes to go to the cash open. Maybe we are gonna get the chance to check the indices. So that might be the case of this price action we've seen there. Just 2 minutes ago, another via Twitter, another Brexit related rumor. Okay, so let's try to do it smooth way. The things almost from a higher time perspective, the things are done here almost as discussed by us previously, right? We were discussing that after market reversed a few days ago to the upside, right? Either we are going to stop here and try to create head and shoulders or over under, right? So we hit higher, but on the weekly there was a upper shadow, right? Because we reversed the course on Friday, and unfortunately we didn't quite hit the 7,686, right? Based on this over under here, we've seen the levels from the last year, right? Now, bears will try to push as low as they can immediately. So trying to achieve and hit latest weakness on the Nasdaq seen in the mid of December, right? The range over here. And what we were doing from the bear's perspective, trying to make the measure of this possible head and shoulder move, right? Look, immediately we get confluence, right? So that's the case for bears. On the other hand, bulls may want to prepare the trap. So we might see at some point attempt to go below this week low, previous week low, to hit the low from the 27th of March, late March over here, and then reverse, right? Force bears, the weakest bears to cover. So then the bears will push the price higher on the Nasdaq, right? We'll see. We've got less than 5 minutes to the US cash open, and as usual we are going to watch first 5 minutes trading range, and similar like yesterday we are going to try to prepare the trading plan. In case of some kind of the rally off, right, that current level, because we are around this week low based on the closing levels, yeah, we very close. So one can argue that there is possibility we might see the rally from here. Anyway, in case we are going to see the rally, so then if there is a stop count gain, so based on this 30-minute chart, here is the next possible supply, in my opinion, over here, right? So in that case, we have to move. This one is no longer needed here. This is from the hit we hit yesterday on one. Everything was explained. Now, that's another possible supply over here, right? So it might be another stop run, because we reacted based on this drop base continuation, rally, boom, now, because yesterday we were doing like 1-to-1, right? And we hit that level, right? Maybe from the bull's perspective, trying to force sellers to cover, maybe we are going to make bigger 1-to-1 based on current low. So after the open, we might hit just pre-market stops if we didn't yet, right? You know what I'm talking about. And then big 1-to-1 towards the supply. It looks like it might work that way as well. Bulls are in trouble below these lows, right? Bulls are in trouble, in a big trouble, in my opinion. Whew, okay. Last thing, looks like I deleted. Not good. It's not good. It was the open. Okay, Monday open. Yeah, that's it. Monday first 5-minute range was here. Okay, USA. And we just hit this 5 minutes Monday low with strong reversal. All right, less than a minute, so let's prepare ourselves, because it might be challenge if we are immediately go through that Monday cash open low, because it's gonna be below weekly open, right? On the cash market. I'm talking about the cash market here. So that might be the challenge. Another rumor that cabinet is putting pressure on Prime Minister May to resign. There is an attempt to build risk on sentiment from Treasury Secretary Mnuchin. Exceptions possible on latest round of China tariffs. Wow! Is it going to be enough? We'll see. In the meantime, nice tweezer bottom on 15 minutes on pound dollar, but let's have a look what we have. Market is open, and the open is equal to low or almost equal to low. So let's have a look what we have here. Boom, boom. And that's the open. That's current high. Mnuchin, but I would say he is doing the stuff too early, unless he is aware of late President Trump tweet preparation, maybe, right? So he will start the US session and President Trump will end US session with some pump stocks news. Oil is recovering. Canadian is trying to... What is Canadian trying to? The bulls are fighting with this over-under. If we are going to close with upper shadow, yeah, and if the positive sentiment survive, right? Based on the Mnuchin, maybe some tweets from President Trump, we might see some pump. Yeah, why not? Especially that, but I think we are going to see the retest of this weekly cash open, right? That's where we saw this reversal here. Looks like it might be strong, healthy first 5 minutes range. What we have here? That was the one-way ticket to the downside here. There is another information that Downing Street says no plan for cabinet to meet. So yeah, messy on the pound. In the meantime, higher on the Nasdaq here. I might try, right? Depends how we are if and how we are going to retest this weekly cash open. I might try jump in. Don't forget 4:30 within less than 4:30 CT, PM CT, less than hour. Official oil inventories. API yesterday, the private one, in favor of crude bears, and we seen the attempt to break lower, right? Actually, we trying to break lower. Looks like that's gonna be one-way move here within the first 5 minutes on Nasdaq. Less than 10 seconds. So the open looks like it's the lower. Yeah, a little bit of the upper shadow. Okay. And the cash open right above the first 5 minutes, top of the range from Monday on the cash market. No super reaction yet on the Chinese yuan. From the intraday perspective, watch the previous hour high. Okay, so where we are, we might want to hit some pre-market stops to create over-under based on what we've seen here. As we quite didn't hit that level during the pre-market session. So that's the first thing first. That's where we may want to go. The second thing is the 7,500 retest again, right? Quite wide, the range today. $22, $23, nice. So based on this, if you are going to see the pullback, it's enough space to look for pre-market stops. There you go. That's what we discussed an hour ago, right? Bulls are done ahead of the option expiration and then later ahead of the FOMC meeting. All right, time is flying, so we are approaching, and the cat, trying to fight this broken over under. Anyway, time is flying, and we are approaching the second break of today's meeting. So again, bar is open, coffee, tea, water, non-alcoholic drinks. Enjoy the break, and I'll be back around the top of the hour for the summary of the day, and a few ideas ahead of the official crude inventories and ahead of the FOMC minutes. See you after the break.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Okay, plenty of things going on in relation to the pound, continuation of the sell-off, a little bit of the headache for me here. Anyway, plenty of mixing information. Some are saying she's gonna be done by the end of the day as the Prime Minister. Some are saying she has to show the bill, so she's safe by Friday. Others are saying if she's gonna to survive today's evening, she is safe for next 2 weeks, right? So what pound doesn't like here is the uncertainty. Would be better to have the information, some clarity here. Otherwise, you know. Anyway, I haven't seen yet some kind of the capitulation, so I might be forced to close the pound ahead of the end of the day, who knows, maybe ahead of the FOMC minutes. So that's about the pound right now. Euro dollar trying to hold weekly open, and again trying to make the summary of the day. I think that right now FOMC minutes might be the key. And I see two things here, right? One, that some were argue for 2 rate cuts and some kind of the market positioning towards the 2 rate cuts. But to be honest with you, when I was going through the latest Fed members' speeches, I don't think so. We are going to see 2 rate cuts unless there is something catastrophic going on. And that's how the dollar is reacting right now, in my opinion. So I do not expect the dovish minutes here. What I do expect that if we are gonna not get dovish minutes, if there are gonna be any kind of the hawkishness, I would be afraid about the market a bit, right? Because market was trying to force rate cut, so I would be very careful, and yeah, we'll see what kind of the sentiment we are going to get after, right? Of course, it's a Wednesday, it might be midweek reversal, so watch out after the minutes, but I think the real reaction might happen 12-24 hours after the minutes. Usually that's how it works. Why? Because there is the minutes are 2 hours before the New York close, right? So there is a lower liquidity, plenty of possibilities to manipulate the market. Then 12 hours later we do have the London market, and 24 hours later we have cash open in US. That's why usually the real money reaction is 12-24 hours after that, unless there is really things that may push the market either way. If you are going to get back, check the history, you will see how it was before. All right, so still we are inside on the pound. We are inside the high and the close of the 3rd of January rally, right? but it looks every minute it looks weaker. Still, bulls need to take out 26.75. Would be great to see 27. So that's how the things looks like in my opinion. Otherwise, any close below still gonna be rather negative than positive for any pound bulls, if they are still there, right? So watching pound from that perspective. Dollar yen, it's all about the sentiment, and what I pointed out last hour during the second part meeting. Dollar Chinese yuan, that's what we have to monitor from the sentiment perspective, and we are trying to go higher again, right? We are the previous hour we closed above daily open, so from the daily chart perspective, yeah, positive body right now. Some kind of the flag we were discussing before, better visible here intraday channel. I would be very careful here. Right? So in that case, USD CAD, Euro Aussie, out USD, Euro CAD, because CAD is still holding based on the retail sales data, but we do have within the next 20 minutes, we do have official EA oil inventory, and as well as the FOMC minutes later on, right? But once we are going to go through this supply post retail sales supply, which has been tested twice, there are no strong rejections here. We might see Riley at least towards 34, 25, 34, 35. The thing is, the question might be here about the possible stop once we are going to go through that level. It's a 5-minute chart. Usually it should be bottom of that pre-sell off, right after the break. But because it's a 5-minute chart, I would say that the levels we are fighting right now, this over under which was in play ahead of the data, we hit the stops. We now going back. So once we are going to see the Riley eventually pull back and really tiny stop, but below this over under eventually. But I think would be better to wait for the reaction on the oil market, right? Because oil is what may try to help indices, maybe not Nasdaq, but DJ or S&P. That's how I see the things, and that's how I see the things here. Yeah, dollar yen, all about the sentiment. As I mentioned before, we might retest the yellow top here. 110.30, but if anything, I'm more interested in levels closer to the weekly open 110.10 or psychological 110. We'll see, right? What bulls doesn't want to see is adoption below 110 psychological level, because then we can immediately start to see bigger bears activity, right? And it might be something like this, all right? So be careful out there. Just eventually some kind of the spike to the downside, right? That's the trend line eventually. If you prefer the dynamic lines, I do prefer horizontal lines, but there is a trend line. So eventually what we want to see as a bulls this type of the price action, and if you are a bear, you want to see the break of the trend line, and then eventually attempt to rally with rejection, right? So that's how the things on the dollar yen may work. Other yen crosses, euro yen testing extremely important level around 22.50, 22. Pound yen is breaking down below the latest pound weakness with the yen, right? That's what we discussed. The range from the 22nd of December, all right? Then the Niagara Falls, then reversal, V formation. Didn't quite retest that one, so I've been thinking that okay, but looks like we are breaking. But if we are gonna to see lower shadow over here with overall pound dollar rally above 26.75, 27, who knows? Next one, CAD yen, attempt to rally, gap closing, right? And here, bulls were able to the pip to hold that zone, right? The latest weakness in that case. The question is, what's going to happen around current level? As we have the gap, we have some kind of the supply over here higher. Let's switch to a little bit lower, to hourly chart. So I wouldn't be surprised to see one more rally and eventually intraday sell-off. Wow, we are going higher here, 693.60. And we don't have to wait too long. There is a Canadian dollar reaction. Probably there is a... So let's leave it euro pound for now. Let's have a look what we have on euro Aussie here. We're discussing euro Aussie. Oh, some party outside. Not sure if you can hear the music, but neighbors looks like preparing the party. All right, so we close the gap, no huge rejection. So what we trying to do probably here, look, actually I like it. I thought that we are going maybe to see lower levels, but what we have here, okay, agreed. There is a trend line break. That's clear for me. But as a bear, I would be very, very careful and a little bit worry because of what I see here. After breakout, gap closure, rejection. But what kind of the rejection that is, right? So probably based on what we have on the daily and what we discussed last time, probably as far as I remember, right? Yesterday we finished the business and we're trying again. Above yesterday high, we might see, especially if we are gonna to get the close above, we might see the rally towards 63.40.50. So it's a 15 minutes ahead of the crude data. The CAD is trying to break higher here without even pulling back towards the level we were discussing before the break. And there is another attempt to move lower. Oh, what's this? What's this? What the is going on? Stop hunt only or okay. Okay, we are very close to the level we have here. So stop hunt based on what we discussed before the break, or there is a news. Let me have a look. Let me check. Let me find out. That's probable reason. Trump is likely to see each other at the end of the June. If we are not gonna continue here, and if we are not gonna get any other pump from the White House, we might be around the top of the day. On Nasdaq. And then it's easier to manipulate the market via crude. Holy maloney. Upper shadow, this type of the upper shadow, also might suggest we are going to see lower levels on the oil. There was not big reaction on the Canadian dollar, so watch out for breakout higher here. Unless there is a, there are some news from the White House pumping the market higher, right? The previous range, the range from the previous hour might be quite important here on the Chinese yuan. On Nasdaq, we may try to hit exactly to the point, as we did yesterday, for example. And bulls are in trouble below this break higher, below, under the top of this first 5-minute range, right? Bulls are in trouble. Now, again, probably again, we get the confirmation why I'm measuring the first 5-minute range, for example. Not the first time. Right? I've shown you a few times already. And interesting information via Europe elects. So the Brexit in UK in today's YouGov EU election poll shows the Brexit party at the new record high of 37%, Labour's at the new record low of 13%, worst results since 1910. Conservatives at the new record low of 7%, worst vote share ever measured on the national level. All right, so we are going to see the reaction on the oil, but be careful, we might just hit the double of the range, so something around 61.50, 61.20, right? So just don't chase the market, especially this type of the market. Five minutes to go, so let me go through a few more news services. Or before I will do that, summary: euro dollar, waiting and watching. If, and of course, if we are going to see the run for stops here post non-farm payrolls low, what's gonna be the reaction here, right? Just a reminder, the dollar index hit that post non-farm payrolls high already. So it's, you know, very interesting stuff going on here, especially with Euro parliamentary election, ECB minutes tomorrow, European PMI day, plenty of stuff going on in relation to euro. Pound bearish unless bulls are gonna be able to close above 26.75-27. Dollar yen, as of now, bulls trying hard, and as long as we are above 110.10 weekly open, psychological 110, there is a still chance we are going to see higher level, especially that checking other charts like CAD yen, pound yen, euro yen, we are testing extremely important levels. So the Bank of Japan intervention cannot be ruled out simply, right? So everyone is trying to manipulate the market right now. Canadian dollar is a close to the counter break, is a close to make the break of this breakdown to the upside, mostly based on the sentiment we have here on the dollar Chinese yuan, right? We are still, if we are going to switch to the daily, we are still under 695, but come on, Friday strong close. This week we are not able to close below Friday low, right? So that's telling me something, some kind of the flag creation over here. We'll see what's going to happen. Watching also this Euro Aussie, especially based on this intraday price action, and if there are gonna be what I would wait for here. Or maybe I wouldn't. It's already done. We need 2 points to create the line, to draw the line, right? So we have two hours ago, third one, rejection, and we are trying to turn around. So that might be interesting evening from the risk on perspective. Under pressure here. So algos, bullish algos, trying to do all they can. They're reading every news, trying to push the market higher. But here on Nasdaq, again, we might try to hit some stops, and we have over under on the smaller time frame, right over here, based on this ratio from the first 5-minute range. If not, then we might see another supply higher based on what we discussed during the second part of our meeting, bigger one-to-one like this, all right? So probably that's it. I'm going to go through the news, and we are waiting for the EEA news release as well. Let's check if there is anything news Brexit related. I don't think so, as pound is quite stable right now. So yeah, nothing new here. There is a nice summary on the Twitter from the BBC guys. In that case, it's Laura. She was trying to summarize last half an hour all the Brexit related news she got. So first, cabinet ministers told me, I'm talking about the Laura, cabinet ministers told me it's the end of the line, and they will tell that to the prime minister. Another says she can't make it beyond Monday. EU parliamentary election results are overnight Sunday, Monday. And another summaries, another minister says she must stay. No difference whether she goes now or in a few weeks. So in the meantime, we do have this oil inventories, and you can see the reaction. So it looks like API was confirmed, private API. And yes, that's correct. Here you go. So in that case, probably we do have a yes, algo reacted. But guys, just to be perfectly clear, before we are going to get 34, 25, 35, I would like to see some kind of the pullback. I'm not gonna to chase, because what we have to the upside and what we have to the downside with the stop simply doesn't match. Same with oil. Don't chase the price right here. There is a still chance for a bounce and then trying to join the party, right? Don't try to chase the market, even they will go lower from here. All right, so it was my pleasure today again. Another tough day. I'm struggling with the pound. I might be forced to get out all about the daily close. 26.75, 27, that's the key in my opinion. Next FOMC minutes within the next 3.5 hours. Don't be trapped. Wish you great rest of the day and see you again around. Have a great one. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.